Welcome. This is going to be our next to last video. I'm going to finish the menu system. I'm going to do the menu on the left. I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning up that hopefully will help you. And then our last video will be on creating the actual template itself. So for right now, we have the menu system that's on top. And when you put your mouse over it here, and then we have basically nothing down over here. So I'm going to add a border to this. So it's really very easy. So what I want to do is just click on these links here. And we'll just put it on the LI link over here. And we'll take our menu and we have our nav tap LI. And these are what's already set, not a real lot. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add let's get rid of this. I'm going to add a border on the right. So we only want right, so let's choose this. And let's make the width, say, 2 pixels. And a nice color that will stand out. We always want to use solid, unless for some reason we don't, but I recommend solid. And then we want white. So now we have borders over here. Now I will show you how to get rid of the border on the right, and you can either leave it or you can put it on your own, whatever you feel. It's totally up to you. I think this looks nice like this. However, if these were a little bit further over and you just had this space, you might not want it. So again, everything is about a matter of preference. So use your own judgment on that. Let's go into a file I created here. And that's not it. This is it here. Okay, this is the menu for the CSS. Notice I added the nav left to it already, so I don't have to do it in the video. Let's copy it. Get this out of the way. Go into the menu and drop it down at the very end. And notice, look what happened. So the good thing is we can look at this and modify it any way that we want. So let's put a comment up here. And here's the Nef navigation. I put a little comment up here. Make sure whenever you make a comment, which begins with a upward slash and a star, make sure that you put the closing. Otherwise, it's going to comment everything out. So let me take it out so you can see everything there is commented out. So we want that. So basically, we have an unordered list. We're setting the margin. The width, by coincidence, happens to be 200 pixels. That's what we want. So if we have to change something, we want to change the width as well. So we have a background color of FI, FI, FI. Again, you can change that. And we have a border. Let's just change this to 2 pixels. So you can see it's a little bit more. Now, you may like this border on the bottom. You may not like the border on the bottom. Again, that's totally up to you. You may like these colors. You can change these colors. And let's just make the LI, let's just make this bold. So I'm going to go into the CSS Designer so I don't have to worry about what the actual code is. We have to be in the index file to do that, which we are. Menu in here, and let's just make the text. We don't want top, we want left. And we'll go to text. And we'll go to font style. And actually font weight. And we'll make it bold. So it makes it stand out a little bit nicer. Again, play with the colors to get what you want in here. So now we have a slight dilemma. We have a gap in here. We really don't know where that gap is. So let's go and take a look at our menu code. So we have, the first thing you should look for is margin and padding. So in here, well, we have both the margin and the padding as set to 0, so we know that can't be affecting it. So the only thing that could be affecting it could be the menu H2 over here. So let's go into the project CSS file and find that. So we have nav left H2, so on and so forth, margin top in here. Maybe we want a margin bottom. So we can try doing that and see if that works. So let's do it from here. And this is margin bottom. Of course, and let's see if that solves our problem, which it did. Now you may want a little bit of gap. In that case, maybe put 5 pixels, maybe put 10. Again, that's totally up to you preference-wise. So now let's take a look at what we have here in live view. So that looks pretty nice. We have this over here again. We can take care of this. This again, we probably going to get rid of over here. You may even want this to move it up here and get rid of it altogether from over here. Again, it's a matter of preference. So I'm going to let you make that decision. I'll show you how to do it. And then I'll let you make that decision as to what you want to do there. So now we're going to go and start formatting the menu system the way we want. This is where I actually got the code from. So you can see it's very easy to do. All right, we're going to move this over here, get out of the way. So I'm going to leave this like such. If I did not want the bottom border, or if I don't want the right border, there's something called a last child. So let me show you where that is. So we have here nav left, last child, border none. That's why you're not seeing a border here. If we wanted to make it, we could make a big border over here. So, but let's do the same thing now, and I'll show you how it affects. And let's go into the nav top LI right here. And this time we need to make it last nav top. And this time we need to make it border right. And now it's gone. So that's totally up to you whether or not. If you want it back to border, instead of deleting it, just comment it out. And now it's back. So again, that's totally up to you how you want to do it. So now we're going to go into design view. And I'm going to work and put in some pictures. Now, of course, in design view, things get totally out of whack. So do not be concerned about that. So let's go in here and let's insert a picture. Doesn't matter where, I'll just click here and we'll insert one on the right and then we'll insert one on the left. So I'm going to click on insert and I already have a picture ready to go. So I'm going to insert image and here's my world image. It's already sized to what I want and that looks really ugly. So let's do the same thing over here and we'll insert the image and okay, so now we have 2 world pictures and you can see how it's not formatted very nice. So if I want this one on the left, I'm going to apply float left. If I want this on the right, I'm going to apply it float right. So I'm just going to make a class to my CSS designer. And I'm going to physically do it. We don't want it in the menu. We want it in a project. So I'm going to create a class. Remember, the class begins with a period. And I'm going to do image, float, right. And you could put spaces or whatever you want. So let's just do this. Image, float, Right. So now we have a class that doesn't do anything. So what we want it to do is we want it to be float right. So I'm going to make the first one float right. So I'm going to apply a class here to it. Just strictly, I can do it right here, very easy. And I'm going to do image float right. So now it floats there. It looks pretty decent. Let's move this over here. You might want to move it up a little. That's totally up to you how you want to do that. So let's just change and put a little bit of padding in here. Okay. If you want to move it, you can move it through Code View. It's usually easier to do that in Code View. So we have it here. So you can move things to wherever you want. This is not selected. So let's just click on it here. And we'll select it. We'll cut it. And say we'll move it here. And let's go in here. And again, you know, it may look okay, may not. So next thing we want to do is add a little bit of margin to the left. So I'm going to go back into here. And I'm going to find our image float right. And that takes care of that. So let's go into here, and we're going to put a little bit of margin to the left. So we'll put 10 pixels, maybe 15. And let's see what that looks like. So it doesn't look like it's changed a real lot, but there's enough padding in there to keep it separate. So now we're going to do the same thing in here. We're going to create a class called image float left. So let's go and create a new class. And we want dot image float left. And this one will float on the left. And we'll put some margin 15 on the right. Now what we need to do is apply the class. Very easy, just click in here and margin float left, and boom. So that looks kind of nice in here. You could even put a border around it if you want. Again, you may need to do some extra spaces over here. You might need to change the width or what. Then you could do the same thing over here and put some pictures in over here. If you need some familiarized, I believe the cupcake was the one that had images on the left and the right, so you can follow along with that. So now we're pretty much good. We're going to go and finish the menu system on the left. So we've got everything down here. So here's the left. Okay, again, we've got the width. You may need to do that. We have the border over here. We can change that to whatever we want. If we want to change it to all black, just make it FFF, or rather 000. And you can change that. Again, the display block you want because you want it to be able to work as long as you have your mouse over anywhere, not just over the text. We have center. We have the border bottom over here. We have bold in here. And so we have nav left. We have two things. So let's get rid of this one here. Not doing good and getting rid of it. And let's put our border bottom. Now, it is okay to have it twice. So now you can see how that affects it, and we don't have anything on the bottom. So we may like that, we may not like that. So I kind of liked it the way it was before. So we could, if we wanted it on the bottom, we could comment this out as well, or we can change the colors to it. So we have it, let's make this 1. And change it to a lighter color. You could do all that. So, again, it's just a matter of playing what you want. If you wanted that border back, very simple. You could just do the same thing in here, and let's just do it a different way. Instead of commenting it out, let's just put in the same border. And then we can change it from none to something, however way you want to do it. We can just got to find where the border is, bottom border none. So we could do a bottom border, which I'm not finding, and okay, my silence means I'm looking for the bottom border and I'm not seeing it. And I'm sure it's right in front of me, and here it is. Border left. And okay, so we have an extra border here. So let's go back to the original one and let's check and see what's there. And we have bottom border none, bottom border here in the LI. So, and we don't have any other borders. So we're going to want to make this right here. We'll just copy this here. And you can see why it's always important to keep backups. Because you can see how easy it is to mess up it, which I'm doing a very good job of. All right, so now we have that there. And then if we wanted it here, we can do the same thing. But what I'm recommend doing is just putting this here. And you can see it's there. If you don't want it, you can just comment this out. So again, I'm showing you multitude of ways of doing the same exact thing. So I kind of like the bottom border in there. You may like it to be 2 pixels, so let's make it 2 pixels and see what that does. That's, it's all right. Again, it's totally up to you what you want to do. So that's it for this video. So now you have enough to go by. I do want to show you one more thing before we go. So let me take this up here. Again, you may or may not want it like this. So you might want this strictly on top. So what I'm going to do here is we have an H2 tag. Let's change this to an H1 tag. And we're going to get rid of this over here. Again, I'm going to go into code view to get rid of it. So we have here, I'm going all the way down, equal weight columns in here. Make sure the columns are right. So we have that there. Let's go to live. Okay, so we have this. So now we can make this let's just make it the same color as this, and we'll make it white. So now we have an H1 wrapper. But what I'm going to do is, let's look in here and let's put it inside of something. So we have an H1 wrapper. And what I can do here is, so I know that it's not going to affect anything, I can make it a class or I can make it a tag ID. There's a multitude of things that I can do. So let's just make it a class, just to give you a little bit more in here. So we'll call this we have wrapper H1, but we really don't want it to be a class because, I mean, a tag like that, it'll affect everything. So we're going to do it two ways. We're going to do it with a class, and then we're going to do it with an ID. So the first will be, I'll call it wrapper H1. And then I'm going to make it, the text is going to be white. We're going to make it centered. And we're going to make it bold. We'll make it bolder. We'll make the background the same color as the others. So let's go into live here and make the background color through the picker. And let's make it this. That looks kind of neat. And let's move this over here. So we're not getting what I want. H1 wrapper, because it's a class. So notice that nothing's changed. So what we're going to do here is we need to apply the class to it. And now it's equal height. So you may like this better and get rid of this. That's okay. Whatever you think is okay. I'll show you a little trick on how to hide it. So let's go into the source code and find that H2 tag right here. Where it says welcome to it, and I'm going to put style. And I'm going to do display. None. And I don't have it correctly spelled, but display none allows you to do things. So let's get rid of that. And let's go into live, and there we go, it's done. If you spell things wrong or you leave things out, it's kind of, so display none just means don't display it. That's all. And then later on, if you want to display it, you just get rid of this, and it's there. So I kind of like this a little better, but then again, every page is going to be different, so we'll leave that up to you. So that's it for this video. I hope you have a great day. I'll be making another video that will just work you through the template.